Hello, Miss Cortez. You have talents. You have a care that many people don't have. You are smart in ways that I'm not smart. But I have ways that I can explain things better than everyone else too, because I have means to observe this. A crime method with a whole bunch of people interbranch, maintained, criminally foreign influenced, originally and still. For example, all victims, but with fact treatments regarding when the other natures of a whole bunch of natures of quality of private treatments of law that you couldn't defend, and us at the same time because it was already entrenched. There was already with our founding, there was already they were coming with a transatlantic cable across the whole ocean. They already locked each identity of the ground's relationship to zoning laws and things like that for shared police. You can't defend that, which are agreements to keep undercover their methods. These are sequence shifting roles, exploiting what knew they could get them perpetually and still maintain states and areas quality of fact keeping nature, forcing whoever's going to be the leader entertain. You know, it's not politics. Then they're pretending misprision and they're against dictators because they're lying about our behavior, including online, because there's sequence shifts that show it. These are people, a whole bunch of people on and off Fox Connecticut News, on and off WFSB, involved with crimes with databases, with Justice Department, Washington D.C. This is from the former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, his lawyer, Robert Chevrolet, associated with places on and off Farmington Avenue. Shared police streams like on off CCSU with people involved with them, criminally involved with Justice Department rackets. Other nations where they're peaceful means and trade positions and things like that. You can't defend that and us at the same time. That's not logic. I believe everyone should have free rights. See, but they're using like LGBTQ. They're recorded using that with the same street involved with this criminally. Through time, a whole bunch of people involved with offensive evidence crimes at the corner of a high crest school involved with the Russians through time, criminally involved. Because this is the narrative you guys brought up. And these are Russians and criminal against Russians at the same time with psychology. With people, let's let the experts think about this. These are people forging names, switching names into branch, individually getting criminally hiding that, grouped hiding that criminally, and together, preventing demonstration of it. They're pretending we're repeating things. Now, so there's a whole bunch of things I have to keep that are amended to this I never said before. Because every time I bring it up before. This is what they used Facebook for criminally already, to hide their trade center attack crime roles leading up to it, in it, and since. Uses of another method of organized crime that keeps whoever's the leader, whatever nature of leader, criminally foreign influence states and areas on top of people hiding that. We have houses all on the streets that are over the corners. We have people with my name in Wethersfield, Connecticut. Interbranch, on off the prison offices, on off those locations. You have sick people in these places. They have the right to what they call. They're trying to where they are. These are fact cheating nature rackets. These are real sick people with crimes with the kids, real insidious and real over at once originally and still. Now they're stealing our voices. They're sequence shifting since through time. I just remind these are all a bunch of natures of crime acts with their identity theft crime acts of Fox Connecticut News, of WFSB, Whole bunch of people associated with the Domain brothers and family. Whole bunch of people associated with Mendez police and family also police forms involved crimes with science clicks, database crime clicks, criminal uses of intercultural, interreligious spots. Their crime acts roles with drug clicks with New Britain Superior Court, other natures of courts, their family members involved criminally through a crime method they use that location when I was time. Sequence shift. I don't know the name. You had glasses like that kid on the news now with the fake thing, and a child. He was. And I was inside a bus, and someone made confessions about him, and he walked right by that time, which is tied to live progressions that started. That's like how I could see the live progression because I didn't know what they were talking about. Then that person, when I was in high school, he got involved with the people that were in middle school who made confessions about their roles with this overt criminal enterprises. Now, see, these are various natures of retired and standing judges that influence these people to those actions, but they also made confessions in demonstration of their families' roles, a whole bunch of ways, and through other people involved with overt criminal enterprises through time. Now, see, this is what Joshua Julian was pretending my family had something to do with. My family proved years ago. See, with the transition from ACA to RICO, there were people involved with foreign and domestic, Nave Trade Center. They're involved with a whole bunch of overt criminal enterprises. Now, see, well, at the same time, these are through time people involved with from Weathersfield involved with North End of Hartford with Justice Department rackets, where they have culture involved with their treatments of organized crime and of counters to it, where they have that being used to further it, whether it's simultaneously fact cheap nature racket, facilitating hiding and blaming on other things. Their motivations for another thing, but see, they're preventing mandated law because they're defending identities of the law that are indifferent to the vast natures of crime method rules that foreign and domestic agencies directors have. And with former director Robert Luskin, recorded election crime roles make it. They facilitate this. These are victim predators facilitated. These are crime methods that facilitate people to defend what they can't defend in us at the same time. They were involved with torture since before they brought that up to pretend to be against it, to keep the identities of the law defending what you can't defend in us at the same time. We have sick type treatments as gangs and as opinion natures offensively hurting each age of fact treatment nature because of how they were hurt, how they were forced to blame other people, other things self. We have victim predators. So all we need is free speech. We need to have for the youngest kids separated. You know, these are people roles with sensibilities. They can't be talking about this when they have from off campuses maintained child offenders with sexual, medical, interbranch fake putting kids in fake locations, fake natures of relationship to sick people with the kids. I don't care if they're what intermilitary what. We have sick people with them not by accident next to the schools connected through time. Not just that school, but this is with there are houses on the corners that are involved with the intelligence community, involved with Russian families, involved with drug crimes, formal and other, in a pattern. This other kid's tied to a Thomas and untimely death with a whole bunch of that was in the past, tied to a house of poor kid, I forgot his name. Anyway, that house is still tied to people involved with federal crimes. My past and new neighbors involved with various natures of child offenders, various natures of crime like real estate crimes, whole bunch of people on and off Two Route Highway with federal crimes associated with this Victorian house, with a South Civiello, with a house across the street from with Corona Brothers, or Faenza brothers, and we know houses in the area like Maria Fazino, her brothers and family, and with religious nutbags, things like that, involved with drug crimes, with foreign and domestic military involved with them. Dylan people recorded, confessed. I never had a conversation in my life. He's recorded, confessed, demonstrated. The whole bunch of Weathersfield police through time, other police forms, and their family members. They're involved with identity theft rackets, database rackets, criminal uses of time relationships to databases, lying through kids. Then they exploited that at the college campus that I went. Same people all facilitated to it through the same house in my area, tied to this Phil Cololo, involved criminally. Now these are people involved criminally also with the transition from Alca de Rico, with forensics labs, with database labs, fake conversations with me about my family members. I made a joke because someone was making a joke. And then in other words, all exceptions are criminally exploited. And because you're using time two ways too fast to pretend they have integrity as courts with physical delusion and with criminal foreign influences originally still, with their defenses of treatments of organized crime, predicate act, discernment, relationships, and value treatments like wrongdoers and wrongdoing, recorded, involved with statistical representations and campus identities of campuses associated with that, with polling, with fact treatment natures as trained to do it, but what is pretended integrity, and that's exploited where and as and how the mandated law is not being followed. Identity thefts are at the door to every industry because per a method that's maintaining the abridged Constitution self-valued. Our American history, American president's identity stolen, self-valued, glorified. Each has lied. CT, now fall to side. You hide the seed. We take them here. Please read. Oh, Miss Cortez, I forgot I was speaking to you out of this video. So there are women doctors who are associated with and nurses in foreign and domestic families associated with LGBTQ and with overt criminal enterprises and with interbranch family members. Now these are people and intercultural. These are people with Confederate flag crimes, and then at the same time they're LGBTQ. They're swingers and things like that. But that's just their opinion. These are people involved crimes with military, police, foreign, and domestic, facilitated to roles with it, criminal uses of our campuses through our own because of their lie progressions, because of their fact treatment of values, their value treatments formally, originally, and still. You can't defend that and be anything but a lie progression as value per what is real, always the possession of space. And it is further value. And that value is further coupled by what only adds and multiplies. And all exceptions are in demonstration of that. Like Leith of Hadith. Attend at ease. Military of each nation. Any nation will be rewarded. Which nation will give me a shot to tell you guys how to set up pantheism to fix our species, nature, or volume? To afford to be able to not be, to counter to have reliefs from natures of threats that are real that will not be there anymore. You relieve you bring natures of relief to fact treatment over here. It does it everywhere. When that starts happening, this is the magic of that the ancients knew that was they separated semi-ancient criminal and foreign influenced internation sciences to affect states and areas sciences criminally foreign influence self-defending it to affect what the phenomenon of modern religions, representing people that don't even get along, that forced to get along. They don't get along because there was already an organized crime that made sure they didn't get along. There are proofs that they knocked down a mountain where they have pyramids before those pyramids went up. And specifically to make negative value nature progressions, acts and natures, to take away the river, the reaction between that height with the atmosphere and all that, and then the saturated ground slowly builds up. Boxing, the job value nature system that pretends that it can't discern that and how that was is inseparable from the organized crime method that our American history is really about. You want to know the importance about American history, you understand what was entrenched here interstates. Well, you understand that James Madison and George Washington did not have free speech. You understand why, because of what was entrenched here, what method they were using, how that one method had a whole bunch of methods in it, exploiting the same way one value, one identity of forever nature, one nature of volume is simultaneously the complete value of space, also, and simultaneously two additional ways. And how the sequence nature mixes, and it only adds and divides. And English was revealed to teach this. And it's being offensively obfuscated by naive quality of conviction natures. Oh, that how could that mean? How could religion be about sciences? How could a thing about a tree be a thing? This is about the substrate. For example, the devil made states and areas as a substrate, identity of the of relationship to the ground, self-value that they knew would cause negative value nature progressions. And that by the time anyone could discern that, they'd be already invested, juxtaposed a whole bunch of nature's motivations, needs, and interests to get to keep the real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures, which is quality of fact treatment nature, blame other things, others, and substances, and to stay roles, staying that. You know how many sick people we have working with prisons that are criminally involved with the areas because they've been sick with the interbranch maintained, juxtaposed with overt criminal enterprises, all that other people, just victim predators of areas, people they know, standing the crime methods like offensively making statements to people that imply that they know them or were associated with areas and or was associated with locations they never were in relationship to fact treatments. They pull everything to different contexts. This is the identity of the ground relationship. I'll gather around. So Fox Connecticut News, a whole bunch of people I never had conversations with. Like I don't know this Allegro guy. His father, I had he was just a guy who made. He was a nice guy. I never had a problem with him. I know one of those kids. He he made aggressive moves towards me. I didn't do anything about it. You know. Plus, it's his place. I would have got arrested because he came up from behind me. Like he they was trying to show off because they have some kind of a way they're keeping the girls. They have some kind of way they're you know young boys and girls want to meet each other. But see, they're involving them with federal crimes, with judges and overt criminal enterprises, with police forms, foreign families, and like you know, for example, they have girls and boys involve hurting themselves because they're speaking through others, and you're not going to go out and the way they're doing it and the substance of conversation. They're not going to explain how you know that they're lied to. In other words, these are interbranch family members using their family members to hide their criminal foreign influences through time, verbal federal crime rolls, then uses of that self-valued by each age of fact cheating nature as fake sides of Trinity's correlation nature, as fake middles, as identity of the ground sequence shift natures. Sequence is a simultaneous nature as value with demonstrations. Revelations come from quality of science long lost. Ancient gaming system, little rap guy and friends, they're going to set up the generator for the ancient gaming system because you guys you miss what brings the gifts of Santa Claus and of the evolution. The Santa Claus is after that. That's good. The Republic has been criminally foreign influenced since semi-ancient times, since before modern religions. Greatly about this because the campuses, the human fact cheating nature, they had to hand this off to that. This is why Islam helped preserve algebra. They helped bring humanity out of the dark ages because the humanity, just because they had faith, they had no control over their fact cheating nature. Everyone had to be a standing criminal in seditious nature, but they had to try to counter anyway. There had to be a forced unity and shared policing and shared value treatments that you can't defend and also at the same time themselves. That's self-value. All roles. Real organized crime method against kings. All natures of leaders do not have free speech because there are natures of unity that are kept knave to keep that needed countered at fact cheating nature racket levels. Formal, kept to keep manifest what they keep exploited because they already have it exploited. These are not means. One way redeems. You see, in 2 seconds we could afford it 50 times over to make Hartford, Connecticut. Paradise is a scientific value. Yin alpha is a transverse section of yin yang. And Romulus is a transverse section. Romulus and Remus are a transverse section of that. And where there are exceptions, we'll come to that. The value gains. Who trains? It only feels like games. This way that fights all fight, but all just win. These other punks, they use all formal facts. They use all formal tricks. State was sick and ill. There are no justifications for what they think that's all what could be afforded for the means to overcome each age of fact cheating nature, especially poverty, comic, same time, elderly home, same time, VA, people stacking, same time, distinctly, non-distinctly. There are areas, states with no medical. They're not obligated then. Change all medicine here by liberating people to take care of themselves over there. Take away the economic things for it. Because we're going to bring in new means for it. But we have to have it we need a machine for the pantheism. All the money is controlled. This is not socialism. This is a science. We're going to need more nature see, we can even make it monetized. Make it cheaper to police and to counter things that make needs for counters to um, pre-existing conditions. These are pre-existing conditions a lot of ways tied to this all many natures of organized crime, of drug crime roles, formal and other, with the branches of their roles, with treatments of predicate acts, and the discernment of criminal enterprises criminally. Now, this exploits how they have news involved with this, using statutes, crime rules with the branches, with the other nations, maintaining this needed hit individually grouped together. Intercities, interstates maintain, worse than that, maintain uses of each location. Bad people here with the transition from Aka to Rica, with this Dillon family, associated with a whole bunch of people associated with houses in my area that facilitated the crimes, with a forensics place, with places on water, like the Cove, like in Middletown, like their roles with uses of victim predator. What's his name? I didn't even see the play. They don't put that play on DVD, or I don't know, maybe they do. Hamilton. Not personal. Seriously, though, we need American history defended properly. That's all you need to understand. I'll clap each hand. I'll stand, all right? It'd be trial tribes. In other words, so we have means. So when you're young, still at all ages, you have to have blind respect for doctors, for people, service people. Now, originally and still, that was exploited. That fact, cheaply nature fact. That true always. Where that was exactly where they were doing it the most, because this is where fake positive was going to go to cover its lie progressions, to cover to keep each nature of correlation nature incapable of telling on them, only capable of confessing and demonstrating their roles criminally foreign influenced. Whenever anyone opens their mouth ever about Jim Crow laws, anyone, any color, anything, they're wrong. Their delusions rot still. We don't have time for this. They're not going to follow mandated law. They're out of their minds regarding what they think furthers criminal enterprises, overt ones, because they do. They use them through time. So we have locations on and off the streets perpendicular to High Crest Hill. Further involved with WFSB, with Fox CT, with their sources, interbranch, retired and standing, with their sources, other overt criminal enterprises, military, foreign and domestic. Locations on and off WFSB, on and off Fox CT, federal crimes, a whole bunch of natures of crimes, people, and names, from the former director of the FBI to his lawyer, to that whole area near the all the way up to Harriet Beecher Stowe, Mark Twain House. Now this is involved with the organized crime method, preventing free speech since our founding, identity theft, crime acts roles, criminal uses of what they call the intelligence community, through administrations criminally involved, especially with Russia, and their narratives with that. When they know that they criminally pretend they believe in experts having credibility that they don't. They only pretend that in contexts where they recorded are criminally consciously using courts and having used courts for crime methods, for identity thefts, for evidences crimes, for crime roles, stacking databases, valuing them having been stacked criminally, interbranch, on and off, from off that ground of education, on and off campuses and layers, just maintain that the only realized outcome since before. Even with all types of education, if you're homeschooled, your age of fact treatment nature is going to be aware of others through this, and that's going to be discerned, and they're keeping each nature of sophistication as criminal insidiousness nature or hurt, and everyone with the identity stolen, everyone with sequence shift self-value because of time treatments, because no one has the can be happy in life, can make others happy if they unless they ignore things, ignore how we don't have free speech, ignore how the only way we can demonstrate the organized crime. In other words, where there are areas of shootings, where there are areas of overt criminal enterprises, those criminal enterprises are victims of intercampuses maintained organized crime method roles formally and through time. Now, this is through time adapting in ways that's tied to the shootings. We're not even needing opinions. These are people with fake news crime acts with Sandy Hook, various natures of courts on and off the state judicial branch offices. There's a prison in Sandy Hook that has doctors and it has prisoners recorded and confessed with a whole bunch of natures of crimes, whole bunch of Weathersfield interbranch, various natures of courts, their family members, various natures of police forms, their family members, all with the same house/S, involved through time, crimes with forensics clicks, with this Phil Clough, with people involved with child sex offenders, criminally and other natures of crimes, fake child sex offender maps associated with Facebook clicks, with a whole bunch of natures of crimes. They're hiding behind some kind of shared policing they have associated with a Rick Chamfayon and with a Brian Silver. And I never had a conversation with Brian Silver in my life. I barely know Rick Chamfayon. Last time I saw Tim O'Brien when I was in grammar school, like it was the only time I knew Rick Chamfayon. I mentioned that. See, but there are more people associated with the northern corner and with other corners of Highcrest School and of the South Dean Middle School and of Weathersfield High School, other campuses criminally evolved through time, Webb School, the Pearl of Weathersfield, Charles Wright, other schools involved through time criminal uses of the family members interbranch, they're kept criminally foreign influence, intermilitary kept criminally foreign influence, intertitles of the law, like investigators of investigators kept criminally foreign influence, delusions raw, victim predators with verbal federal crimes roles, with database crime roles, with identity crime roles, even when they did defend their identity, pretend the FBI has integrity. They never they have obligations deep and long and hard in relationship to what forced color used originally and still. Every person who opens their mouth about it. These are not our means. One way redeems. Simple to say, oh, well, we have a tax system. That's what the tax system's for. Yeah, where's that money going, though? It's going to negative value, nature progression, need to work, natures of jobs, natures of time treatments, natures of value of our own value. They can't afford. Of course not. These are we can have instant means because each nation, state scenario is interscience. It's the same physical delusions, fake sides recorded, same opinions that would not be, same roles with all kinds of studies and things like that used for identity theft roles preventing free speech through time. Now, Ray Colo also recorded to confess that he's involved with the people with the criminal uses of the bakeries. I'm sorry, modern pastry. I'm sorry, I don't know you guys. You guys recorded to confess. Now there are men and women involved with child offenders. WFSB recorded and confessed crimes with interbridge actors with Facebook. Through time, when I was a kid, there was a lady went to a there was a lady who was teaching about, or a man with catechism. You go to catechism, you learn about uh, Catholicism, whatever, Christianity, whatever they call it. I don't know if Christianity is the same thing, but this lady was talking about ghosts. And that was when I think back now. That was tied to, there was a whole. This is a crime method that is through family members. This is originally still making the time of people, the sensibility natures of who they're next to, involved with an organized crime method. No, but no one. But this is with interbranch actors. This is a torture method that was involved with a whole bunch of nations, crimes against their people and ours at the same time, all the time. So I just wanted to say, give many pray, Miss Cortez. The only way you can defend the nature, see, environment is the wrong way to counter, and trying to do it political. See, because then they make you take a position. They're telling you to do that. Oh, take this position, and then we'll do this, and this is legislation. They have physical delusions where every time someone opens their mouth about legislation, I don't even know how the correlation reveals this. The sequence shifts reveal this. See, we have mandated law not followed. Then in the background, they need to lie about us. And that's what they're doing, interbranch. Identity theft rackets, stacking databases when things come, because they're lying. When they hear me talk, they lie. They forge names and switch names when people stand in front of them. These are Connecticut interbranch, interstates, trade center crimes. Further, Washington, D.C. crimes. Further, with Wethersfield, Connecticut. Further, criminal uses of victims. Further, criminal uses of the sensibilities of each age of fact treatment, each position, each identity of the law. Our lies. Be trial tribes. We need federal stewardships now, nation. We need to, please, Miss Cortez, be, don't they call what they call bipartisan. Be more than that. That's one of the things they use things to get people to measure, like their cultural treatments of Italian gangs. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved crimes with the state, on off the state judicial branch offices, on off the state prison branch offices. The same ones involved crimes with overt Latin gangs, all associated with them, involved sequence shifts, speaking things to make it pretend like they don't know, because everyone's speaking through others. We have leaderships of prisons recorded their family members how maintain criminally foreign influence, child campuses on in Hartford, each age, same like Wethersfield. See, Hartford was set up to be boom, three family houses. This is a method that was entrenched here since before our founders were born. Forced, no one speak. Everyone was a fact treated as slave, scared to speak about any building anything other. Before cars, tactically denature relation to nature. No native needs. One way redeems. Native pure. We don't have to be Native American to know that and how. One thing they can do for Native Americans, I will give them, lift the water. One tribe somewhere would want that for them. and then it goes down. Then you have an interaction with it. And then nature doesn't want us just to reach out for all the rocks and things we need for the rest of to heal nature. The technically the nature relation, we have to do it deep, but doing it, but guided by the identity that's going to cause positive value nature progressions itself, not by money first, by our identity of relationship to means. One way redeems. What state has all those people that has, I forgot what I saw that. I won't go into that. Every single fact treatment in nature, every single fact treatment is messed up. You're lost. You lose here, lose, fall below me the wall. See now they're lying about my behavior. I warned you guys in another video that this is for science reasons. Because I'm asking not you, Miss Cortez. I mean not speaking to you. I'm showing them how there are people in the background who need to lie about my behavior because they're involved with a whole bunch of natures of methods of crime, whole bunch of people that were involved have ties to criminal uses of corners on schools and further on the northern end of the Highcrest School with Russian families involved, with foreign and domestic families involved, with child offenders of a whole bunch of natures juxtaposed. And now these are a whole bunch of various natures of courts, justice people, originally and still sick people, needing to hide life progressions not by accident, having the jails tied to them, having all the campuses used criminally by them, from off the ground of education, then off campus and later by them. But that was first because they're victim predators. But what stays on off this since before they were born, intercampuses with Connecticut. So there's a there's a there's a there's a there are people that speak through others. I never had a word verbal conversation with Chad Casper in my life. He's recorded involved with a bunch of people involved through time, like around the time when Greg Kyler's reported death was reported with downtown Hartford, involved with Fox Connecticut News police on off their locations involved criminally. The security with their building involved criminally. Security intercities. See, these are people involved with crimes with the directors, foreign and domestic. They maintain this outcome. This is how they have Mexican Navy involved crimes through a transition from Alca to Rico, crimes with our Navy, social crimes with our state police, crimes with our Weathersfield retired and standing police chiefs retired and standing with Hartford, Connecticut, involved. I forgot what I was talking about now. See, but we have, in other words, we have a whole bunch of sick people with guns, with sequence treatments, with fact treatments, and then they need to hide life progressions. There are reports of real or made up of a shooting of a person by the Weathersfield police chief at one of the locations in Rocky Hill next to WFSB, criminally involved with them. Now, these are people with crime roles leading up to in the Trade Center attack context, already involved criminally with it, but then in the Trade Center attack context that day, criminally, interbranch, and foreign, and a whole bunch of fake sides. They make fake sides. Interbranch attach me to fake conversations about my family members, and then to fake conversations about me, fake sequence. That's recorded too. It's not just my opinion. I don't know. That's recorded. They're involved with. I caught them with a whole bunch of natures of crimes because they were involved with the same actors. Now there was a former principal named Mr. Murphy. Now he was involved as victim, but now his daughter is going to the school now, and her former boyfriend and her new husband are involved with crimes with their family members, with boxing gyms, and with Johnny Galucci, and with a whole bunch of people with Joe Aiello on off schools. Mike Kerr. I don't know the girls. Mike Kerr never went to my school. He went for like I saw him one time, and it was really then he went to a private school involved with nuns, involved with a Chris Walters, involved with religious spots, also Jewish, also types of religions, criminal uses of them, also how they're criminally using their identity of the locations of the crimes with kids on and off CCSU type campuses, criminal uses of the mosque next to it. Because now they have the standing sensibility natures using faith but they're not letting free speech. They're using identity that is not true always, and not they're denying exceptions, fake sides. We have psychology and collusion with what's furthering quality of fact, cheap in nature with area rackets, formal drug crime rules, overt drug crime rules, juxtaposed. I'm not making opinions about this stuff. Definitely, you should legalize marijuana. It's cruel and unjust punishment, and way worse than that because of the crime methods they use that for through time. I just remind whole bunch of people associated with a Leahy family, and with a Dr. Dingleberry, a Dr. Dewberry, involved with a Yagman family, with the Joshua Julian crimes with Facebook. Crimes with New Britain Superior Court, a whole bunch of natures of them. A whole bunch of nature of crime. Recorded per a crime method, recorded stacking people's names. All in the background, pretending, oh, it's just that person. Lies! We have them faking things recorded into databases with child offenders. Further, we have women roles, women leaders. I'm not speaking to you, Miss Cortez. I'm speaking because they know in a straight line. Since before the Trade Center attack, I recorded this stuff. True. And now I'm using them lying where they don't have the right to lie. I'm using them recorded using statutes, pretending that's what the law says, and they don't realize criminal exploitations of that. That's where they're caught. Now, all these people with the house in my area, I'm not making any opinions. I'm not trying to call people names and make the fight like that. They are. That's the sequence. They approached me in life. The people that are now men and women involved that I don't even know, and ones that are involved. So all tied to narratives by a whole bunch of people tied to a Dillon family, a whole bunch of people tied to a Michael Kerr, a whole bunch of people tied to houses. See, that's middle school. I never met Mike Kerr or Jerry Kerr, his brother, or Jerry Kerr, the father. And I never had a conversation with the mother, but she's recorded and confessed involved with criminal uses of the police forms associated with the investigations with, what is it called? Insurance companies. But see, him and Joe DeMoro are crimes with a whole bunch of prison clicks and interbranch drug clicks, database crime clicks, whole bunch of natures of crimes. They time acting, timed database crime acts, uses of that to make lie progressions. Whole bunch of people have recorded and confessed crimes with the Gold family, former Mayor Gold, former and standing mayors involved through time facilitated crimes with forensics clicks, with criminal body dumping spots, and with legal body dumping spots involved with identity theft crime acts. Uses of the drug crimes to keep everyone lying. Uses of forced, what is it called? Through time, they do things like using, when you have criminal courts, They do things like pretending they're keeping things sealed. They're using fact sheet nature all ways too fast, too slow to prevent mandated law, to hide their roles sicker than most killers. Recorded in relationship to the kind of things that they put people away for because it's facilitated through what they are. That's maintained self-value. So if people who live near the schools and further on Highcrest don't want their names brought up, there are a whole bunch of people that said, and there's a lady who said that she's her last name is Pierce. I don't know if there's in other words, if there's a Pierce that John Mayano said confessed and recorded conflicting lies. So he communicated that he has crimes. Because when he was a kid, I met him after he graduated, after my class graduated, but I stayed back because of a speech class tied to crimes with. Well, I never had a conversation with her personally. There was a lady who was a doctor of psychology who was my speech teacher in the class in high school. Now she was involved with sexual crimes and people with CCSU involved with Mike Pandolf and a Chris Walters. Mike Pandolf's involved with a whole bunch of people like a Chris Walters on one side of the high school, and a Mike, a Fred Grisey on the other side of the high school, involved with a whole bunch of identity thefts, and then the Yagman family on another side of the high school. And they did go to my high school, but the Phil Clo didn't go to my high school. Chris Walters didn't go to my high school. He used to hang around with people from my area that I never saw him in the same location of them. I never had anything to do with him. The only context I know him in, was him making me confessions to me, tied to what is a serious conversation. How they don't let anyone demonstrate all the liars regarding color, as each one. This way is clear. I'll drop you now, CT. It means appear. Sequence true. Always. Your many pray. On off CCSU through time, we have locations evolved. With a whole bunch of people associated with the suburb of Jericho. A whole bunch of people associated with Jeremy Grohl. Confessed and recorded crimes facilitated with courts involved with kids since they were kids. They were facilitated to roles and with narratives with New Britain Superior Court, criminal with kids, with programs like a rope program. Their roles with Washington D.C. tied to areas. They're fact sheet agents. Like we're going to take violence and we're going to bring this as a topic before the Congression. We're all going to speak. Forget about it. Schiff. He's not. The president is right. Long time we've had Russia over here, criminal with our branches of government, pretending they don't know. They know. Hartford, Connecticut, all gather around. Fox Connecticut News also confessed and recorded crimes into campuses with Los Solitos, with people associated with Italian criminal enterprises, Mexican ones, Cuban, Scalora family, police forms of Hartford, Connecticut, identity thefts. I never had anything to do with Scalora family. Now they're involved with the foreign and domestic involved with Highcrest Street, with the corners of it, with the prison cliques, with the doctors with that. Recorded, the illusions raw. Crimes with the criminals. Crimes with the investigations and everything before they went in there. Fair. Sandy Hook, Newtown, uses of those victims as victim predators. where those families intercities are tied further to the ones in my town intercity. You see that way overtly through time. They confess, demonstrate, record, or we're part of the overt criminal enterprises. Oh, those are Italian criminal enterprises. These are collusion. You fear God for the uses of the on off the location on my street with their roles with the witness protection program, also involved with this Cololo family, with the child defenders, further with the state forensics lab place and state police with houses in the area and other police forms associated with them. You fear God for fucking pretending you talk to me, motherfucker. Fear God. Give me a response. Not you, Miss Cortez. I keep forgetting I'm talking to you. But I'm having a problem because if you call the police, they'll lie about what you say. They're pretending things are recorded that are not recorded. And now these are people that did that every campus I went to, on, off it, facilitated to it. I'll break them fast. All things change. I'll show you how to make evolution, Miss Cortez. There's no need to worry that we make reliefs. All anyone wants is this course, vaccines. It tells us things. Science is more than just sharing identity and sequence nature, Miss Cortez. Please force them to respond to me to pick one name and sequence because they have names forging and switching recorded as some of the crime methods involved with their roles, juxtaposing names and natures of sick people formally pretending they're good people and making opinions on other criminally. Forging names, switching names. I don't like the child offenders, Miss Cortez. And we have to demonstrate how they have LGBTQ involved with their narratives, with the sick men and women of psychology, recorded, involved. There's nothing against their rights. This is their roles with crime acts, with crimes. We have bad doctors involved with WFSB, with police forms, sick ones with badges who are doctors. I'll show them logic now. Give me a response, Miss Cortez. Fake branches bow, then fall. Evolution's means too long we waited, too many forsaken. Hartford's course is simple, righteous, pure, native. We have means instant. That's not means. We have shootings through time. We have people pretending to be investigating things, pretending to be studying things. They can't defend that identity in us at the same time. They can't. They can't stand correlation nature with sequence true, inherent, active, and progressive means. One way redeems. Wait till you see how sick fake the military is. Oh, we're just killers though. Then don't make an opinion. Don't think. Don't think. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Anthony Wall. Let me show you how to use aggression because Miss Cortez, your talent is how I could never have be that graceful with people. As a woman, has a value that we don't have. And a male, we need to have this everyone admonished. I'll show you how. When this is the chief is forsaken that position. This is beyond bipartisan. We can do it, Miss Cortez. Just get me the response. See Renaissance.